Okay, so back to the story. Ellen G. White and the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which was actually started by a man named William Miller, who was a former Freemason. He actually renounced it after studying the Bible. Though some detractors say that Miller never did renounce Freemasonry. But I've read this book. It's an interesting book. It's worth the read. I don't know if it's perfect, but... and once again, Walter Veith is a Seventh-day Adventist. And two things they got right is that Antichrist has to do with the papacy, the Pope, and Saturday is the Sabbath. Okay, that is a fact. It got changed by Emperor Constantine in the 4th century when he took over Christianity, okay, to Sunday to venerate the sun, because they worshipped the sun. I first discovered Walter Veith in this Rekindling the Reformation series, which is a good series. Particularly the Beamable Sustainable Princes, which is a very good video that has to do with the global warming, the sustainability movement, and all that crap. But the overall idea of rekindling the Reformation is that something has gone wrong since the times of the Reformation, and it needs to go back in that direction, which I completely agree, because the Reformation was a good progression. And also, Ellen G. White's story is very interesting. I remember strangely hearing it in school when I was 7th, 8th grade, and hearing stories about her, basically being filled with the Holy Spirit and reciting from the Bible while holding it up and off to her side with one hand, and I'm talking a big Bible, and reciting it perfectly while not even looking at it, and also her basically going stone stiff, and even really big strong men couldn't even move her arms or her body at all. Seventh-day Adventists believe she's a prophetess, and I'm not sure. Supposedly thousands, or like 1,000 people at a time or so, viewed her basically being filled with the Holy Spirit and prophesying and shit. Now that seems way more credible than Joseph Smith's fraudulent Mormon church, which, if you ever read the Book of Mormon, and you read the Bible first, the Book of Mormon is a joke. Its eschatology is way off, the chronology of events. And it's ridiculous. It's really laughable. I mean, I actually laughed while I was reading it. I only got a book and a half into it. Second book of Nephi. It was ridiculous. Another accurate doctrine of the Seventh-day Adventist Church is their doctrine of hell. And the conventional understanding of eternal torture is not actually accurate. You would have to look up the words for it, and Walter Veith actually covers it in his videos. Old Testament, Sheol, New Testament, Hades, Gehenna, and Tartarus. And Sheol is basically when you sleep, and Hades is basically the same as Sheol, and the underworld of the dead, and it says numerous times in the Bible, death is sleep. And why not try to prove that? Said unto them, give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleepeth. No, that's not the one. This is the Jewish Encyclopedia of Sheol, the Old Testament word for hell. The dead merely exist without knowledge or feeling. Is one of the main points about it. Go ahead and read the whole thing. Look it up. This is the word. Or down here, the dead are described as sleepers in the dust. It is described as man's eternal house. Yep, Hades was the Greek god of the dead, and according to Plato, that doesn't matter. Almost never did he leave his gloomy kingdom, but was residing there instead, surrounded by darkness and silence. Hades' helper was Charos, the angel of the dead. Charos had the duty of transferring the souls of the dead with a boat over the river Atron from the world of the living and the world of the dead. Oh shit, that's not what I'm looking for. Somehow I missed, yeah. He was always residing in his gloomy kingdom, surrounded by darkness and silence. Meaning no thinking, no consciousness. And then we got, Tartarus, the underworld of the dead, where the gods locked up their enemies. Now, what I'm finding for Tartarus now is not what I had found before, I swear to God. But numerous ones are saying the abysmal regions below Hades, where the Titans were confined, an infernal region, hell. Basically, just a lower abyss than Hades. Wikipedia says deep abyss is used of a dungeon and torment and suffering for the wicked, and is prison for the Titans. Though this is not the website I had found it on, this is closer to what I had found, where Hades is the Greek word for grave. Tartarus, the present condition of darkness and restraint of the fallen angels or demons. And Gehenna, a place at the bottom of a high ledge at the south end of Jerusalem, where garbage and dead bodies were dumped and burned. Either way, there is indication of you die, you sleep. 1 Kings, when the Lord my King shall sleep with his fathers. Why dost thou not pardon my transgression and take away my iniquity? For now I shall sleep in the dust, and thou shalt seek me in the morning, but I shall not be. Job is a big one for the concept of death being sleep. And don't forget that ashes to ashes, dust to dust thing that tends to be said at funerals. So the man lieth down and riseth not till the heavens be no more. They shall not awake, nor be raised out of their sleep. Now this is a very important one. The book of Job, which is actually the oldest book in the Bible. Till the heavens be no more, which is a reference to is it the book of Revelation, where the heaven rolls back like a scroll. They shall not be awake, nor be raised out of their sleep. O Lord my God, lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. So anyway, I'm digressing, because I very much liked Walter Veith, and I looked at others on the channel Amazing Discoveries channel. All one word, just type it in up here, youtube.com/Amazing Discoveries channel, and it'll take you to it. Not perfect. I liked Walter Veith better, but part of it was his speaking style and such. Not to anything against the content of it, it's pretty good. But then, strangely enough, while I was watching videos on YouTube that were completely unrelated to this subject, somehow this channel, or a video from this channel called Christmas is a Lie, Xmas is a Lie, is how you type in the channel if you're just going to type in the URL. And I was like, wow. Especially when I got into the whole Antichrist thing in this channel, which is has to do with Pope Sixtus III. That's translation, Six the third six. You got into Bible subjects that I had never even heard of, like the Nicholaitans, which is it's a very difficult portion of the Bible to surely know about, but there is indication when you analyze the different historians that it's a pretty strong indication that they were pedophile fathers. And this guy also has a website. It's called ChristmasIsALie.com, all one word. And this is the Christmas Lies section. Click on this tab here and it brings you here, and it's got all these different sections. I spent over 6 months. I just finished yesterday, December 24th, 2014, the last section, which is the War on Christmas. And this is not perfect either. None of them are, but this may very well be the strongest one. And I would really like to go through some high points of this. What this guy got, and this is written by one guy, and there's a lot of grammatical errors in it, but it's clearly written by one person, and he didn't have an editor. And even despite the grammatical errors, and even the disagreements I have, and I think it's about 80% good, and accurate. And I still give the guy kudos for doing it on his own. It's impressive. Now, with this guy, though, I will mention for many Christians who might view this page, they might take issue with it, especially because the guy is kind of a liberal. But I don't say confuse that with a left-wing liberal, even though the author of this might. Now, here's what I mean. Now, with these left-wing, right-wing things, there's some contradictions out there on, pushing ideas. Like right-wing is fascism or something, and left-wing is totalitarianism. That's a contradiction, and I'll show you. See, when I was in 10th grade, I had a very good history teacher, and this is what he actually taught us right here. I can get a better view of this. Strangely, this is from AboveTopSecret.com, I find, after clicking on the link, which I have issues with that website. I haven't gone there in years. But yet this graphic is a lot closer to accurate, at least concerning what I learned from my history teacher in 10th grade about left wing and right wing. Right wing, extreme right wing, is absence of government. The further right wing you get, the less government there is. Thus, anarchy, absence of government. The further left wing you get, the more totalitarian things get. And that includes communism, fascism, socialism, and Marxism. And that is actually true. This one here is funny. Monarchy is the far right wing and communism is the far left. Ridiculous. Here's one that's a picture that's sourced from Reddit that, once again, correctly shows it. Where you got the fascism and communism over here, pure tyranny, and pure freedom with anarchy over here. Yeah, anarchy can lead to mob rule, but it's a catch-22 kind of with the whole left-wing, right-wing thing. Here's another false depiction, like Nazism is pretty far right-wing, fascism, which, by the way, same thing. Nazism, socialism, same thing. Nazi party was the National Socialist Party. How you have liberalism and conservatism in the middle, I don't freaking know. It's ridiculous. So understand that right-wing fascist is a contradiction because fascism is really over on the left wing with communism, okay? So for one to say they're a right-wing fascist, they are spewing a contradiction, a lie, okay? While left-wing liberal is also a contradiction in terms, because liberal, liberty, liber, being the key word part there, which means free, is the right wing, not the left wing. Now, despite the fact that the author of this website does not grasp that concept yet, it doesn't take away from the history he presents. Not all of it's perfect. Some of it I could not verify, which is especially as part of the imperfection, okay? And I'll go over some of the faults of it, but I'll also go over the strengths of it, especially in the next part. But once again, remember, we're all human, okay? None of us is going to be perfect on anything. I showed in part 1 that I was not perfect on my whole salvation of the Jew thing, okay? And I corrected that. And I'll correct myself again here because I incorrectly used eschatology, I think. And what I was trying to say was anachronism, an error in chronology when I was speaking of the Book of Mormon. This is the dictionary on the website, by the way, and this is Babelism, which I talked about in my. We should no longer use the word Illuminati. Now here's an interesting one. It's it's for church. Okay. You got the etymology, which actually comes from the Old English Circe, or I'm not going to probably pronounce it right. Supposedly comes from Curicon and Kuriakon, but it actually doesn't quite fit, and this website lays that out. Like, this isn't something that you can just watch a video for, okay? I'm just trying to show you a good source, and this stuff tends to come from the Strong's Bible Dictionary, which, if you look him up on Wikipedia, he basically set out to create a dictionary where he wasn't telling you, what everything, like trying to tell you like the doctrine of it all. He's just laying out the meanings of all of the words so you can figure it out for yourself. But there is a misnomer with the translation of church, okay, where Circe, which has to do with circle, think Stonehenge, and occult circle kind of shit, magical circle. Okay, well, Kyriakon or Kyriakos has to do with temple or synagogue, while ecclesia, which in the New Testament is translated into church, means to call out of. What was Christ calling them out of? The temple system, maybe? Doesn't mean that ministering is bad, because, to call out, that's part of ministering, okay? But called out comes from the Hebrew word kara, which Quran actually comes from. And I'm not saying Islam is good or bad. I'm just saying that that's where the word Quran comes from. But like to call is used even in Genesis, when God calls Adam out of wherever it was. Was it at the abyss? See here, it's pronounced kara. Kara. And to call out, once again. And right here's an issue I have with it, with this hate speech thing, which it's verbal fascism, and there should be no laws about it. Do no harm is what it should come down to, is what the Constitution basically comes down to.